friends, and welcome to Sustainable Prepping, your home for fear-free emergency preparedness and a sustainable life. My name is Brecky, and today we're going to be talking about liquid assets, material assets, and preparedness. Let's get started. Now, I've decided to dress up a little bit in order to talk about finances, but I want to start this video by saying I am not a financial expert. I will never give you financial advice. I will never give you legal advice. I will never give you advice about where to invest your monies. I am going to talk about the difference between liquid assets and material assets and how that impacts prepping. So don't take anything in my videos, including this one, as actual financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Okay, that is my PSA done for the video. So what does it mean to talk about liquid assets versus material assets and how they impact preparedness? Liquid assets are your money assets that are often invested in a bank. Now, they are easy to liquidize. That's why they're called liquid assets. And these are things like your bank accounts, for example, your checking and savings accounts. And some forms of stocks and bonds can be considered liquid assets, but not all of them, because some of them have a whole bunch of loopholes in order to liquidate. So they aren't really available to just sort of immediately have at your disposal. The idea is that liquid assets are those almost immaterial assets that constitutes wealth. You may have $100 in the bank, but you don't have $101 bills in the bank, right? You have this sort of liquid credit of $100. Likewise, you may have, stocks worth $5,000, but you don't have that in 5,000 single dollar bills. They are like a credit. Somebody who is really savvy in finances, I am sure, is going to break this down and tell me why I am or am not correct, but this is big picture level we want to talk about. Okay, that's your liquid assets. These are the things like money, particularly money in a bank account that is liquidly available to you. Material assets are exactly what they sound like. They are material. My iced coffee mug is a material asset, and a really lovely one at that. It is material. Now, that asset is not necessarily worth very much, but it is a material asset. If you want to think about it in bigger terms, we call housing real estate because it is a real material estate. It is not this liquid kind of amorphous money stock estate. It is real estate, okay? That is why we call livestock. They are literal living stock. You invest in livestock, right? You invest in animal futures and animal husbandry because it's a living stock, okay? So these are all things that have been around a long time. These are concepts that have been around for more than 400 years, and they help us define the difference between sort of investment money that can be liquidated and material things that have to be sold or used, all right? So real estate is dirt. It's the ground. It's the house on the property. That's your material real estate. And when we talk about material assets, we're talking about all of your stuff, from your coffee mug collection to your makeup collection to your clothing, but also to your preparedness gear. And this is where I think a meaningful conversation with people who are outside of the preparedness community can take place. I think in this season of inflation, as we start thinking about the ways in which our material gear, our material assets can actually support us, we can make inroads into greater preparedness and greater preparedness education. Having a well-stocked pantry means that you have just invested in an asset that will only appreciate with time. For example, if you have purchased a deep freezer full of meat and the price per pound of that chicken was only $3, but now the price per pound is $6, you have just doubled the value of that chicken that you purchased, and you've saved yourself the cost of having to purchase it in real time. This is the way that your assets have appreciated. With this example, what we are seeing is preparedness, whether or not the person realized they were being prepared by stocking their deep freezer with meat when it was on sale, or maybe buying it wholesale somewhere, but they've just participated in preparedness and in having their material assets appreciate, number one, and two, being able to access those material assets at any time that they're at home. This is one of the things I think preppers harp on without truly explaining, and that is you may not have access to your liquid assets. You could have a bank account with $10,000 waiting to be used, but if the internet goes down and you aren't able to access that money is for all intents and purposes, gone. Maybe not forever, but at least in the acute crisis. Therefore, having invested some of that $10,000 into something that you can access immediately, a material asset that could come in the form of things like a really robust pantry, generator, paying off a car, for example, so that you own the car, the asset is yours, it can't be seized. It could be fuel investments, solar panel investments. These are material assets that provide an immediate return on investment to some degree or another. You can, of course, debate that in the comments. This is a way of turning liquid assets into material assets that are useful for you in an emergency. Now, I can already hear people in the comments typing away and talking about gold, silver, and other precious items of that nature. I'm not going to, one, recommend that because I don't, and two, I'm not going to suggest that gold bars, silver bars, or precious gems are equivalent in this case, because although they are a material asset, they are a real asset value, you hold the gold, you hold the silver, you have to liquidate it in order to get value out of it. It doesn't have an immediate return on investment. It has to be liquidated. So you have to sell or you have to barter with the gold in order to have it become valuable to you. Because of that, I personally don't suggest in folks investing their liquid assets into gold, silver, jewels as a material asset of value. If you have plenty of material assets like food, water, shelter, generator, electricity, fuel, medication, if you have all those things squared away and you just want to have a diversity, that's great. But in the beginning, for most of us, I don't think that is a worthwhile investment of your material assets. Thinking about your preparedness in terms of liquid assets versus material assets is a great way to think about where you're investing your money. I am not going to be the person to tell you not to put money in a retirement fund. You should, because all indicators show us that we're going to have a fairly stable life forward with big hiccups and big storms, but most of us are going to survive. Our financial institutions are going to survive, and we're not going to all end up as Laura Ingalls living in a pre-industrial wasteland. That is so unlikely to happen that the people who have pulled all their money out of their investment accounts are going to find themselves at 70 without anything to fall back on, and they're going to end up on whatever welfare is left over once Republicans got it. That's not going to be useful. What is useful is diversifying what it is you invest in. If you have at this point been investing $300 a month into your retirement, maybe what you do is invest $250 a month for the next 6 months and take an additional $50 every month to invest in your material assets, your food, your water, your medicine, your fuel and fuel storage, your ability to generate your own power if you can invest in solar panels and things like that, your investment in a really high quality vehicle or an e-bike, investing in yourself through honing your skills. These are all ways that you can have material investments and consider them an investment while also maintaining liquid investments. The two are not diametrically opposed, but they may have to be balanced, particularly if you have a tight budget, as most of us do these days. The point is that we are not opposing liquid assets, nor are we highlighting material assets as the only thing that is valuable. Rather, we need to think about our liquid accounts, such as bank accounts, stocks, and other sorts of investments alongside material assets as a comprehensive plan for both everyday preparedness and emergency preparedness. If we can educate the public on material assets that appreciate over time, depending upon what you invest in, then we have a population that is more likely to invest in those material goods and to consider it an investment and not just oh, well, I have an extra $20, let me add it. It's an intentional step-by-step process of investing in those material items. I think that this is a great inroad into talking with working professionals about emergency preparedness in terms of material assets and investing, and not about the gear-based or the fear-based approaches that most preppers take. I believe that this is a great way to plan your own financial budget and to make space for those material investments. They're going to set you up for success in a coming crisis, because we are definitely going to all be facing a crisis sooner or later. So now it's your turn to let me know what you think. Do you have a plan for how you budget for your material assets? Do you view your preparedness preps as a material asset? And how do you think about your liquid assets or your bank accounts and other investments and your material assets or your gear? I'd love to know what you are doing and how you are talking to your non-prepper family and friends about investing in their material assets for future emergencies. As always, you can find me online over on my Instagram page and the Facebook group. Everything is linked down in the description. You can check out other videos. Of course, I'll have several up eye in the sky. We've been talking about investments in material gear here for a while. And if you are new to preparedness and you would like to invest in your material assets through having an entire month of emergency food storage for your family, planned and organized by you with food you can buy at the grocery store, I am going to have my course, The Ultimate Guide to Food Storage, in just a weekend. It's going to be linked down below, and it's going to help you have and manage those material assets for maximum impact with your family. I hope you're all doing well. I look forward to everything that you have to say down in the comments. And until the next video, happy prepping.